Today on Leaf by Leaf, Asleep in the Sun by Adolfo Bioy Casares. I think this one is every bit as good as, but not better than, The Invention of Morel, his more famous novel, published some 30 years earlier. But Asleep in the Sun is unmistakably Adolfo Bioy Casares, husband to Silvina Ocampo, and friend and mentee of Jorge Borges. If you think Twilight Zone and Alfred Hitchcock Presents, you're in the right vein. This one is just plain fun, and it still holds up today. I urge you to go into this one cold. Don't read any blurbs, don't read the synopsis. Don't linger on the cover art, good as it is. Some have cited the glaring spoiler on the back copy. I don't personally find anything too detrimental, but it does make me think of an anecdote about an American horror novelist named Richard Lehman. The copy on the back of his UK edition to the novel Funland had such a terrible spoiler that whenever he gave out copies of the book to friends, he would always tape an index card to the back. For the full experience of Asleep in the Sun then, don't read anything else, just read the text. And for the same reason, if you haven't read it yet, you may want to consider going ahead and stopping this video and revisiting me after you've read it. Though I do think I've done a really good job keeping this spoiler free. As I talked about in my Invention of Morel video, Bioy Casares has mastered the art of delivering a mystery story, and this one comes with much more experience under his pen. The bulk of stories like these are only as good as the likability and relatability of the protagonist, the highlighted details, and the pacing. Lucio Bordenave is our narrator, and the story is delivered in the format of a letter he's writing to an acquaintance. This structure is used to great effect far into the story, just before we switch to the perspective of the recipient of this missive, for a rather dreadful conclusion. Lucio is a sharp wit, a lucid writer, and a great balance of reason and emotion. In short, the perfect everyman for towing the line between plausibility and fantasy. Bioy Casares slowly parcels out one uncanny detail after another, bringing in red herrings and a small cast of distinct characters to muddle our senses. At roughly 170 pages, there isn't much room for padding anyway, but the pace at which this mystery unfolds remains tight and focused. Not a sentence is out of place. Not a word is superfluous. Lucio is an ex-bank employee and hobbyist watchmaker who drinks more mate than all of Argentina. He is humorous in the dry, sarcastic sense, and full of great one-liners and idioms like, "A working man doesn't become a thief at night," and "The man who's out of work is like a pocket with a hole in it." His wife, Diana, by comparison, is moody and pessimistic and has a grudge against clocks. Except for the cuckoo, of course. They live in the alley, which is a part of the city where everyone knows everyone else's business. Doña Seferina is an old, oracular housekeeper who lives with them and provides a running commentary that effectively swells the mysterious aura around the story. Diana undergoes psychiatric treatment, during which time her identical sister moves in with Seferina and Lucio acquires a pet also named Diana, with which to surprise his wife upon her release. Diana returns in an apparently improved disposition. But at this point, the story begins to make ambiguous just who is and is not unreliable. Lucio or Diana? Is Lucio, after all, an unreliable narrator? Even if he is, it doesn't matter. We're already hooked. Lucio loves Diana, or at least her eyes. I never tire of admiring them. I imagine dawns like grottos of water, and I build up hopes that I will discover in their depths Diana's true soul. A wonderful soul, like her eyes. This is a pertinent plot point and a major theme of the novel. Lucio questions just what it is he loves about Diana, and worries that it may not be the essence of who she is, but rather some physical abstraction of her. As he says, maybe Seferina was right when she said, "I'm a lover of beauty." There is something about this point that worries me. The beauty I like is physical beauty. Yet this feared superficiality is implicitly rejected in the form of Diana's sister, Adriana Maria, who looks exactly like Diana physically, but simply is not her. And in the midst of Lucio's separation from Diana, Adriana Maria's sexual advances have no effect upon him. The greatest achievements in Asleep in the Sun are along the lines of how Bioy Casares manipulates our thinking throughout and what takes place after the reveal. There is more than enough foreshadowing to turn our minds toward the truth of what's going on, at least in general. But the narrator constantly plants ideas in our heads, or this works well to short-circuit our incessant guessing and keep us engaged. Bioy Casares even introduces and then subverts Chekhov's gun principle. Some of the early intimations are grossly overt, so the reveal becomes more of a confirmation than an epiphany for the reader. But again, as with the Invention of Morel, once the reveal has been delivered, we get the line, "A frankly unforeseeable event occurred." I will say that the creative twist within the bounds of the reveal in this novel wasn't quite as pleasing as Morel, but it was still satisfying and intrinsic to the moral of the story. It perfectly takes the theme of alienation that runs throughout the text to its apex. Asleep in the Sun is, in fact, a fable in the classical sense of the word, with antecedents in a French fairy tale that makes an appearance in the book. It brings up numerous serious questions, including ethical practices in science, the mutual vulnerability in a marriage, the limits of interpersonal epistemology, and ultimately asserts that it is our very imperfections that make us who we are. A string of questions drives the tale toward its close. How well do we really know someone? Lucio says not at all early on, but has a change of heart as events unfold. In the end, however, the most salient moral affirms Asleep in the Sun as a cautionary tale. Be careful what you wish for.